Hello, everybody. I am Nir Bashan. Welcome to another episode, an awesome episode of Coffee Break. This is my book, The Creator Mindset. It was recently named the top 100 nonfiction book of all time, which is super exciting, but enough about me. I get it. Enough. Here we go. We have Liz Davidson, who published an epic book called Money Strong, Your Guide to a Life Free of Financial Worries. Liz, welcome to Coffee Break.
Thank you for having me. For a moment there, I thought you were talking about the wrong book. But congratulations.
Totally, right? It's like, this is all about you.
I wish I had written that one, but that wasn't mine.
All right. Well, Liz, I got a pretty interesting question here to start because I read this book and I thought it was very, very powerful. But will you tell our audience why you wrote this book and especially why now?
Well, actually, I wrote it in large part because McGraw-Hill approached me and said, we would love you to write a book about financial wellness, which, because I run the nation's largest independent financial coaching company, is very close to my heart. It's, I founded the company 24 years ago. It's all I do every day. This is my passion. So the offer to write a book about financial wellness that helps people reduce their financial stress and to have carte blanche on how I did that doesn't come along every day. Tremendous amount of trust. I felt very flattered. And from there, we really looked at all of these financial issues that we have worked with, millions of people over the last 24 years and what really drove financial success, regardless of where they were in the financial spectrum, and came up with a framework that really encapsulated the patterns we saw. And that is the START framework that you'll find in the book.
I love it. I get it, and that makes total sense, and McGraw is on the ball once again. Liz, people say, you talk a lot about financial stress and how to, overcome these things, but people say, stress, it's all about just make more money. All you have to do is make more money, and the stress goes away. What do you say to that?
Have you ever heard the phrase more money, more problems? So stress is a function of really a function of worry about the future, right? And concern that it's not going to be good, right? And so if you can be in financial stress if you're in financial crisis, obviously, very clear and immediate financial stress, but you can also have financial stress going through major life events, even if you have plenty of money, like divorce, like how do you divide that money? It's very, very deeply emotional. And then you can have financial stress if you have a large nest egg, but you're worried about losing it because of economic conditions, market conditions, or so forth. So we're really, almost none of us are immune to financial stress.
Liz, I love this book, right? It's divided into certain parts, and towards the end of the book, you start getting very detailed, right? You start talking about everything from the birth of a child and preparing for it all the way to, what you should look for in a mortgage. What drove you to say, you know what, I'm going to take a deep dive. I'm going to look at these things carefully.
Well, really, we wanted to make the book as universally relevant as possible. And we understand, like I said, there are people that are really financially struggling that may be reading this. There are people going through life events. There are people that just have the stress of, I want to keep up with what I see on Instagram and what I see my neighbors doing, and I feel like I'm behind, and, I want to be further along. And then people that have this nest egg and the stress associated with it. So when you really look at all of that, you have to be broad, right? And you have to really have something for everyone. But it is written as a reference guide. Not every chapter applies to every person, and we make that very clear so you can really kind of choose your own adventure and find the pieces that are most relevant to you quickly and easily, and then immediately put them in action. We also, as you mentioned prior to this interview, we have a lot of exercises that you can do, but those are really tailored to personalize your next steps so you can spend a minimal amount of time and get kind of maximum results.
I love it. Liz Davidson is my guest today. Her book is called Money Strong, Your Guide to a Life Free of Financial Worry. Liz, I ask this of all my guests because I'm all about creativity, right? How did this book make us more creative?
Well, I will say, when you are not stressed financially, because you have your finances in order, and when you have enough money, and enough is different for all of us, but you have enough money to live your purpose and not be worried about doing things for money, the space that frees up in your brain to be creative is tremendous. I mean, it is life-changing.
My guest today, again, is Liz Davidson. Her book's called Money Strong. It is a McGraw-Hill release, and you even got a quote from one of my favorite McGraw-Hill authors, Carrie Hannon, who's a superstar in her own right. The book, Money Strong, go get a copy. This thing is so great. Liz, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.